Hi, I'm Teresa Duncan.
And I'm Kevin Henry.
Welcome to Chew on This.
We are excited to bring you our views of current topics in the dental industry and put a little different spin on them, giving you something to chew on.
If you need to jump off, be sure to check the show notes for links as well as how to get in touch with us.
And now, let's give you something to chew on.
We are back with another edition of Chew on This. Video, Kevin, how are you?
Video, Teresa, I'm doing well. It's good to see your voice. I'm glad the world can see the wonder that is Teresa Duncan.
Well, I appreciate that, Kevin, and hopefully people are gazing upon you as well.
There's a lot of gazing going on, for sure.
Well, let's not talk about your weekend, but let's move on. So
let's move on. Yeah.
All right. So actually, what do you think about seeing a dentist but not seeing a dentist? Like, what do you think about taking pictures of your teeth, sending them on, and then maybe just getting a message later, hey, things are all right? What do you think of that?
We've heard about this teledentistry thing for a while, and it sounds like something as we move into a virtual world, it could happen. But you know what, Teresa? I'd love if you could tell me more.
So, first of all, I was not surprised, but surprised to read that Cigna Dental has about 16.5 million members. So this is quite a lot of people that are going to get a message, or I've already received a message because it rolled out in August, will be receiving a message that now, if they don't want to necessarily go to the dentist, they can still be seen by a Cigna dentist. That's not cool for non-Cigna dentists, but it is business. They have launched a new tool that will utilize the smartphone, your smartphone. You would download an app from a company called Virgin Pulse, and then you would take 5 pictures of your teeth. It will guide you through it.
All right.
It will upload it, and along with whatever, I guess, your chief complaint is. And then a Cigna network dentist will take a look at it and tell you whether or not, you need to get in there, or if it's just something quick that can happen. Perhaps there's a prescription that can be written, but it's not a full-fledged evaluation. It is what they call a screening. And if you were, say you were at your cabin by the lake, Kevin,
yes,
and you were in pain, would you utilize a service like this?
I would. Whenever you're talking about taking the pictures, I think about whenever I deposit a check with my bank and it always says it's too close, it's too blurry, it kind of lets me know. So I'm hoping the app would be able to tell me the right way to do that as well.
But it will. It guides you through it. Nice. And so I have a little bit of experience with this because I went to go visit Smile Direct Club's headquarters maybe a year ago. And they have a very similar, that's how they see so many people for their ortho, is they do all of their visits by this app. And so when they offered to do my case for me, where I was like, okay, sir, complimentary, I'll take it, sure. They have you use their app and it guides you through all of the pictures. They even send you retractors for your mouth to do that. And I guess here you wouldn't necessarily get it because if you're calling with an emergency, you wouldn't have that. Right. But it guided you through. The person on the phone guided you through. But then for follow-ups, there was a program that guided you through. So I imagine they're really just looking for these certain facing shots, which is honestly, when you go into an office anyways, they're going to take their own set of facial shots, right? Yep. But as a dentist, as a clinician, which I am not, man, I got to worry about, am I getting enough to make the proper diagnosis? It doesn't say anything about them using, AI. I don't think AI necessarily works on photographic images yet. For dentistry, it works on it for other things, but for dentistry, you're not taking a proper x-ray. So I think it's still weird to me.
Yeah. I can see the benefit of it if I'm on vacation, if I'm, if I live in a rural area where the dentist might be an hour away from me or something like that. Absolutely. I can see the positives of it, but I think that it's something that's still, we live in such a technology advanced world where we're used to taking pictures of stuff and putting them online or whatever it might be. I can see where it'd be a easy way for people to go see the dentist virtually.
Well, look, I downloaded an app a little bit ago to see what I would look like with lighter brown hair or blonde hair. So this to me doesn't seem that far off. It's just being on the dental side of it. It's kind of just, it's really upsetting the norm here.
Oh, for sure. It is.
So, but Cigna noted in their press release that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show that 36% of adults had not had a dental screening or cleaning within the past year.
Hmm.
And so they caution that while it does not replace in person visits, it provides patients with another avenue to pursue care. And what I like about that, and this is something you and I have been teaching in both of our classes separately and even together when we lecture together, is that the patients are consumers first.
True.
And we have to see what consumer behavior is and tailor the patient experience to be the best that it can be. And if we don't do that, somebody else will. And look at Cigna. They're thinking, okay, well, we see that our patients don't necessarily want to go in all the time, but if we see them for this acute dental visit, this dental pain, we can get them on antibiotics, we can help fix it. They're not coming in and wanting, blown out root canals or whatever.
Right.
We're getting them in so that we could possibly fix the tooth before it gets to that point, or even encourage them for regular cleanings. But, for rural settings too, this is wonderful.
It is. And I think about this next generation that's coming in. Our kids are of that generation and they're used to doing everything online. They're used to doing everything communicating through their phone, however it is. So I can see that this would be a big benefit for that next generation. Again, we don't want to discourage them from coming in for their regular checkups and everything else. But if
Sure.
they are in an emergency situation, I can see where it'd be a big benefit.
Well, so we will see if this catches on, but that's a lot of members, 16.5 million members that now will have the ability to do this and not have to hop in their car, take time off of work for just a twinge or something, or, hey, I chipped a tooth. Can you take a look at this? I don't know. I don't know if reimbursement's going to catch up with that. That's kind of wild.
Okay, so that was going to be a question. Also, is it going to be something then that eventually the dentists are going to have to carve out an hour in their schedule just to look at online photos, or something like that?
You know what? They carve out time to do it when they're doing 3D printing, when they're doing clear aligner cases, when they're doing implant treatment planning, with all the super duper software that they have. And, if say, the lovely Julia, your daughter, and Noah, what if they were to become dentists? Wouldn't they be the kind of dentist that wouldn't mind sitting and looking at pictures all day long rather than,
this next generation that's coming in? Absolutely. I mean, this is something that they grew up with. So something they're very comfortable with. Those of us that a different hair color may not be, but absolutely your son, my daughter, their whole generation, they were raised on computers. They were raised on technology, and it's only going to get more advanced as we go along.
For sure. Well, and if you don't like your hair color, Kevin, I do have an app that you can use and change it around.
When you were talking about going blonde, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'll surprise some folks.
Hey, you and Dana could do matching blonde hair.
I walk in at Greater New York and see what people think about that. That'd be fantastic, I'm sure.
You know what they'll say? Midlife crisis. That's what they'll
Exactly.
say. Which is probably what they're gonna say when I show up with blonder hair. So I sent the picture of what I liked over to a couple of friends of mine, and our friend Lynn Leggett. Yes. Okay, Blondie. Okay, I guess you don't like it. All right,
they weren't very uplifting, is what I hear you say.
I think she was just like exactly what I said. Midlife crisis. Teresa's having a midlife crisis. So, all right, but. So let's get away from insurance companies.
Yes.
Well, and how they're going to do with our mouths. But we've got another insurance company angle. You found another angle to this.
I love finding other angles because you talk insurance so much. I'm like, I've got to get on this reindeer game somehow. Come on. And, we talk about virtual visits. Wouldn't it be nice if sometimes the dentist came to us or somebody came into our home and we wouldn't have to leave? And Teresa, that's what the Tooth Fairy does every time. You know what I'm saying?
God bless.
God bless.
God bless anybody that brings us money.
Exactly right. And the Tooth Fairy is once again every day, every night. Santa does one day a year and then he kind of takes time off. Tooth Fairy every day and night is working hard out there. God bless you, Tooth Fairy. So our friends at Delta Dental have they every year they do a Tooth Fairy poll, which
That's
I think
hilarious.
It is great. And, I'm sure you celebrate this every year just like I do, but August 22nd is National Tooth Fairy Day.
Oh, I had no idea.
What?
Wow.
Didn't you get my party invite?
Oh no.
I'll have to send it through a different Snapchat filter or whatever. So anyway.
Oh my gosh. It's probably one of those blondes only parties that you have.
That's true. Blondes only at the Tooth Fairy Day. That's the party right there. So good. We are also going to just say kudos to Delta Dental because this is the 25th year that they have done the
Wow.
Tooth Fairy poll. How about that? So good for them.
Wow. So what's going on? Like, what is the going rate? What's
Well,
going on?
let's talk about just, how much we welcome in the Tooth Fairy. How many of us really do the Tooth Fairy thing? I'll be honest, we did the Tooth Fairy thing with my daughter growing up. And
You
yes,
have
you did.
to.
No, you
I think
did.
there's also peer pressure too. Like you go to school, if you lose teeth, these kids nowadays are going to be like, well, what did you get?
You know, in a quick aside here, my ex-wife, my daughter's mother, a lovely person. Do not get me wrong,
Mm-hmm.
but there was a day, and my daughter still talks about this to this day, that Julia lost a tooth, and she was expecting there to be something under the pillow, and her mom walked in and said, "There is no tooth fairy." She quit. Yeah, I mean, just like, cold reality hit. It's just like, yeah, you lost a tooth. What do you want?
Did you
So
have to do damage control?
well, I didn't even know about this because we were already divorced at the time. So I
Oh
found out
my
about this later in life.
gosh.
I know my daughter, those scars, sometimes they're inside and you can't see them. Sometimes.
That is why she didn't go into dentistry, Kevin.
That's
That's
exactly
why. Early age betrayal.
See, that's how quick it happens. See, we haven't still told her about Santa yet. But anyway, no.
Wait, what do you mean? I don't
What?
understand.
So 4 out of 5 U.S. homes, roughly 81%, still do the tooth fairy thing. Now, obviously, it depends on if you have children of a certain age or if you have
Mm-hmm.
a parent that doesn't mind spoiling the fun. That's 4 out of 5 homes. 1 in 3 parents say the tooth fairy instills good oral health habits in their children. In anticipation of the arrival, 27% go to bed early, expecting to get a little something, something under the pillow.
Wouldn't you?
How about that? I mean, you know what? I remember it was like, Christmas in June. It's like, heck, if I go to sleep, I'll get something. Sure, I'm down.
Well,
Absolutely.
and at that age, you're so sure you're going to stay awake and catch them.
Oh, yes.
You're going to pretend to sleep. You're like, I'm going to do this. And then next thing you know, you're waking up for bacon or stuff. So,
If the tooth fairy left bacon under my pillow, I'd be all right with that,
you
actually.
know what? I think you might leave Dana for a tooth fairy that leaves bacon.
Ooh, you
I
know what?
think you might. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that offline. So let's talk about, if the tooth fairy doesn't give bacon, what does the tooth fairy give? The average
Mm.
value of a single lost tooth during the past year, it has gone up 16%, in fact. Teresa, would you care to guess what price range we are now in with tooth fairy giving?
Are you telling me the tooth fairy is even higher than inflation?
The tooth fairy, there's a lot of things that go on with the tooth fairy. You've got travel, you've got all the glitter. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into this. I'm
Wow.
just
All
saying.
right. So I would say $10.
Oh, okay. Now you're generous, and you
Oh, I'm a
probably
high roller.
well,
Oh,
you probably
sorry.
bring up the average because let's be honest, there's some that's tooth fairy kind of goes low. May get a quarter
Oh,
still, but
what?
$6.23 is the average.
Six? You know what though? You lose a pretty decent amount of teeth. So if you were putting that aside, well, $6 gets you maybe an ice cream cone somewhere. So it
Yeah,
kind of, like you could walk up and slap those bad boys on the counter and say, "I want a cone."
that's right. And then you
That'd
show
be
them this
good.
is what paid for it right here. That
That's
hole.
right.
So here's
Wow.
Yeah. So here's a couple other little things to throw out there. And I love all this stuff. It's kind of fun. So the average value of the first tooth is actually higher than that. It goes for an average of 729. So you get more for the first tooth, and then the tooth fairy kind of slacks off apparently after that.
But that really sucks though, because as a child, you're going to remember the last tooth that you lost more than the first tooth that you
See?
lost.
And at that point, again, your mother may say the tooth fairy isn't real, and so sad.
Well, and if you haven't, you and I both had only children,
Yes.
only childs, because children doesn't sound right, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So we only had onlys. And so I can't imagine having 3, 4, 5 kids.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, I guess I would be down to like, hey, $5. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it, kid. Get out of here.
Well, and so, we talked about inflation in a recent episode that we did.
Mm-hmm.
And the tooth fairy has gone through inflation as well. So this is the 25th anniversary of the poll. We started out 25 years ago, $1.30 a tooth. So now you go from $1.30 to $6.23. That's 379% of a jump right there.
Wow. So $1.30, that's just some dad emptying his pockets.
Pretty
That's
much.
such a random number.
Why do I have lint under my pillow? I don't understand. Yeah. So
Did you ever get coins?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, what the heck is this? Like, I want a dollar bill,
Do
y'all.
you
Come
remember the
on.
Susan B. Anthony coins?
Oh, yeah, I did get one of those once.
There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
See?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I went
Well,
there.
my mom was a big fan of handing out the $2 bills.
Oh, yeah.
We always had $2 bills. She always thought those were cool, so we had
Yep.
those.
Good stuff.
But I think we always did. I think 5 for Noah was what we kind of. But he is an only, and we spoiled him, so that's
Right. No,
probably what we did.
same TBH. I get it completely.
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. So wow, though.
So
Okay,
well, here's one more little stat.
sure.
So the rate of inflation that we've gone the last 25 years, if we keep going at that rate of inflation for the Tooth Fairy to the 50th anniversary of this poll, we'll be leaving $30 under the pillow for a single tooth.
My goodness.
Now think about that. I don't see
$30.
I don't really see that keeping going, to be perfectly honest. I think at some point the Tooth Fairy's got to put a stop to this. But that's what the poll is saying.
Listen, at that point, kids are going to be yanking their teeth out to make money.
Yeah, you get 20 primary teeth, that's $600. I'm just telling you, it's a racket is what that is. Childhood dentures is going through the roof. Our story. Yeah.
Put that in the bank. That's your bail money, kid. It's your bail fund. It can either be your college or your bail fund. You choose. You choose your lane. Choose your adventure.
No, it is like those books we used to have. Are you going to go in the cave? Turn to page 5. Yeah, you know those.
I hope the younger staff members who listen had choose your own adventure books, because I really don't even know if they're still out there. But if you don't know what we're talking about, man, you are missing out, because you'd read and it would say, if you just, like you said, if you decide to go in the cave, go to page 35. If you decide to stay outside and wait for help, you turn here. And then whatever you turn, the first time you choose, you're always died. Right. And then
choice. Yeah.
Right. So then you're always backtracking, like, where the heck am I supposed to turn? Oh yeah, I should have done this in the first place. But these books were like rocking. There were so many of them. They were addicting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what a genius who created that. There probably still are, right?
I would hope so.
I mean, there's probably an app for it. I bet there's an app where choose your own app. Yeah. Actually, I would play that on the plane. I would probably play that on the plane. But then it would be, you die, wants.
Did you ever play, and boy, we're going to go down a rabbit hole real quick. Did you ever play a game called Oregon Trail? It was like one of the first computer games.
Yeah, you always died from dysentery.
Every time. That's exactly right.
And it was so, like, the graphics at the time were like amazing. And now you look at it and it's like, that doesn't even look like a covered wagon. It's just a bunch of white dots in one one cluster.
You always get about the Rocky Mountains and dysentery. There you go. Every time.
You can never. That's what I learned. You can never beat dysentery.
Right.
You can never beat it. Just eat good while you're out there, because you're going to die from it at some point. And I know that there's an Oregon Trail app. I have seen it. I don't know if it's still around, but I have seen an Oregon Trail app.
Okay.
Yeah. And I bet there's still, like, it's a good moneymaker. You're about to die from dysentery. Upload, buy some mining tools and mine your way out of it. It's a fantastic game.
That's awesome. All right, there you go.
There we are, Kevin. We have
stuff, absolutely.
So, but if anybody would like to donate to our Tooth Fairy Fund, we'd be happy to take that, right?
Sure. And we'll link to that so you can see all the statistics and everything else. And if you have children of that age, you can decide, am I going to spoil the fun, or am I going to put something under their pillow? See, it's a choose your own adventure right there.
Well, and don't be surprised if your little loved one comes home and says, Delta Dental did a study. You are super cheap.
Look at this. Look at this.
This generation is more informed than ever. Don't be caught surprised. All right. Well, dear listeners, thank you so much for listening and for spending your time with us. We'll catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap for this episode of Chew on This. We hope you laughed and learned a little.
Check out the show notes for any links we mentioned, and don't forget to give us a rating on your podcast app. Feel free to drop us a comment on social media or by email if you have any suggestions for future topics.
We'll be back in about 2 weeks. See you then.